I'm curious about sort of, the process of building friendship. I know I've had interesting friendship building experiences just because naturally it's like, I don't know, like it's challenging in an environment where people potentially can gain from you in a lot of different ways, whether it's, uh, career-wise or even just like, going to dinner and like, oh, well, maybe she will pay or whatever, like whatever it may be. Like it's very uncomfortable sort of trying to navigate building friendships that are genuine and positive and where you can truly trust, the people that you're around. And I mean, no friend is perfect either, right? Yeah. So it's like also balancing this sort of complex situation where it's like, not every friend is perfect, but also I need to have maybe stricter boundaries in some ways because there's a lot of people that might be trying to potentially take advantage of me. What has been your sort of friendship strategy? Because it's so important.
Well, I think also, like, I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but I feel like I hear this from other women as well. Is like, I think when you're older as a woman, like sometimes it's a little bit more like you kind of have your friends, right? You kind of already have your like your crew and your vibe, and it's a little bit more on the rare side to like make new friends.
Totally.
As you get older, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just experienced that.
I've heard that too.
Not because you're not a friendly person or you can't meet other friendly people. It's just kind of like a little more rare, I guess. Like when you're a kid, everybody's your friend and you're always making friends and whatever. And I think that I have really good judgment. I also feel like I have really good, like, I can really read people really well and get a really good vibe most of the time. So I think I've gotten really lucky with that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I trust my body and I trust those energy feelers.
Totally.
And if I don't feel good around someone, I know that there's probably a reason. So I just don't waste my time going there. And I'm really tough. Like I'm like, I have a friend who is so open to other people and is so like whatever. And she can get kicked in the ass sometimes because of it. And I just am so not that person. I don't really let a lot of people in, especially now. But I never really have, even since I was young. It's kind of always been part of my nature. But again, for me, it's an energy thing. Like if I feel like really good around someone, like you and I knew I liked you before I met you, which is an interesting scenario. So I was like excited to get to know you and you didn't disappoint and you're like amazing and you're great.
Thank you. And ditto.
And thank you. And so much of it is vibe and energy for me.
I completely agree.
And I don't just trust right away. Like I definitely I slow pedal and then one day I'm like,
you're an open.
Yeah, I can feel that like this is a good vibe and like we're good.
You can't, like I still am sort of, I bet you learned that throughout your life. Like I feel like that was something that probably happened like without you even realizing it. But maybe it's just your nature though too. It could be one or the other or a mixture, but it's like that is so important because I'm somebody I'm just kind of like a free bird. Like I'm just like telling everyone everything about me. And it's like, and it's something I'm really working on because it's kind of spooky out here sometimes. Like you can't do that. And I do that. You know what I mean?
And like, I think there's something like free about it for sure to be like, everything's going to be okay. And like everyone's amazing and whatever. But there's also something like I think we have to sometimes remind ourselves like of the world we live in now and like the way that, I don't know, everybody wants to talk and
it's horrible.
Just, like, I don't want to be a part of it and I don't know. So I keep to myself and my crew as much as I can. But at the same time, I love being in like the rooms that we're in or like being at a fun event and, you know, seeing someone who I'm like a fan of or that I love and I think is really cool and like being able to chop it up and like, all of that is great. I love all of that. And I love experiencing new people. And
you just know your boundaries with it. So that
I think that's important in everything is boundaries.
Yes.
Like I think that in any relationship and whatever. And I mean that to say like protecting your energy.
Totally.
Like I think that's the most important part of it. I also think we live in a world like, you know, I think evil eye is a real thing. So we live in a world where like you expose yourself to so much evil eye and that can become really heavy.
Yeah.
And people, AKA the world, or even people closer than you think might be wishing poorly on you and without themselves even knowing it. I think like even subconsciously people can wish poorly on you.
Yeah.
Energetically people can wish poorly on you. So anything that's important to you, I believe in like keeping to yourself and like
I agree.
A job that you might want, you don't need to tell everybody that you're going for this job, because there might be people closer than you think, like trying to put it down or like put bad vibes into it. Again, they could be doing it subconsciously. So I think that's a big thing for me, is like protecting my energy, protecting my surroundings, protecting information, protecting my life, like
keeping it sacred.
Totally.
What is something that you've worked on with yourself over the last few years that has like paid dividends? Like what's like work on yourself that's been the most impactful? Like a challenge that you've overcome that's been like, holy shit, that changed the game for me.
I think so much of it is like life experience, like learning lessons, right? Like just learning experiences, going through shit, coming out the other side, knowing what worked for you, knowing what didn't. But I think that the biggest thing for me, I'm relatively new to like the therapy experience, but I started like 2 years ago, and I think my therapy journey has been really nice for me. I consider myself a really self-aware person. I think it's only made me more self-aware.
It's unbelievable.
To be able to talk through problems with someone else and be able to like maybe see them at face value, or like digest why I might do something a certain way, or why I might handle a situation a certain way. It's only made me more self-aware. So I'd say like probably my therapy journey is like the most
That's a great
transformative thing in the last 2 years.
I've never found a good therapist, but I'll find one.
But it's so much of that.
It
You will,
really
by the
is.
way. If you
Yes.
continue to look, you will. Mine, I went through a few, and then I kind of gave up. And then one day she like came to me through someone. Like someone was like, oh my God, I just found this amazing person.
Yep.
You should try them. And I did. And I was like, wait, I'm really into this vibe. So I do believe it comes to you when it's meant to, in a way. I think that something like advice I would give is like something that's really been interesting for me is like consistency. So like there will be days.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
No, but you should find someone who makes you feel like you want to be consistent.
Yes, absolutely.
I believe that as well. But I think that consistency is important only because like there are days where I go into it where I'm like, my life feels great right now. Like I don't need to do this today. Like why? I'm thinking I'm going to cancel. And then I don't cancel and I do it, and something always comes up. Doesn't mean it's negative.
Interesting.
But something always comes to fruition in these sessions. And I think that that's what's really important about a consistent journey.
Yes.
Is like, I believe that if you want to do it for a few years and then maybe take like 6 months off or a year off, whatever, that's fair. You can do whatever you want to do, especially in that type of environment. But for me, that's something I've noticed is like sticking to it, even on the good days, is like really important.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you're inspiring me to try again for the bazillionth time. What do you think is the most simplified recipe for you for a fulfilled life? Not necessarily a happy life, because that's a little bit too much to ask, because that doesn't exist. But like a fulfilled life in the sense that you feel sort of full in your heart, you know? There's always going to be some sadness and there are some challenges.
Well, that's what makes the happiness all the better.
Exactly. So what do you think is your recipe for a fulfilled life? Like it could be anything. It could even be like little things that you do on a day-to-day. It could be anything.
Well, I crave a simple life, that's for sure. Like I think that when I see myself older and hopefully with a really amazing, beautiful family of my own and all those things, like I think that that's a part of the recipe, right?
Yes.
But I also think something that would be meaningful to me is like something that is meaningful to me and that would continue to be meaningful to me is like relationships with like important people in my life, friends, really beautiful times, really beautiful memories. Like those are really like just so important. They're the only things we can bring with us when we leave this place. And I think that that's really important to me, is creating that space and that time for those things. And I think leaving an impact on those people is really important to me. So as long as like I bring only great vibes to the people that bring great vibes to me, then I would feel like I would be really fulfilled in life and, you know, my future relationships. But yeah, I definitely crave like a simple life. Like I want to be out of here one day.